So, you're finally bored of throwing the same rock hundreds of times, or trying to dagger snipe someone so far away you accidentally get a kill on someone in an entirely different server. And let's be honest, air users will never even think of trying something new until air blast gets nerfed into the ground. And while fire is certainly hot, let me show you why it's actually the coolest element. Firebolt, one of the first techniques you unlock. All you do is you press the trigger, do a punching motion, then let go of the trigger. It does some decent damage, and you can do this as fast as you can punch in real life. If you charge it up for 4 seconds, it'll obviously increase the damage, but it turns it into an explosive that can be used for more DPS or for movement. Flamethrowers, the second technique you get when you start. And the way you cast it is simple. You hold both triggers simultaneously, and then you just punch in any direction. Use cases for this is obviously you get a little bit of chip damage in, but the main use is for mobility. But honestly, the mobility is kind of bad, so I wouldn't recommend it. Heat. This is a passive ability you unlock that allows you to charge some of your techniques into stronger variances. It takes around 4 seconds. Fire Blast. The way you cast this is to keep your hands close together, press both triggers, and then do a pushing motion while letting go of the triggers at the end of the motion. Use cases for this is for mobility, and it's nice for when people are hard to hit. Firebow. The way you use this is like the Fire Blast. You keep your hands close together, press both triggers, then pull your right arm back and let go of the right trigger when you pull your right arm back. Use cases for this is pretty simple. It's just a long-range, high-damaging projectile. Fire Jetpack. Like every element, you get an enhanced double jump, and what fire gets is a really good strafing option. You can pretty much combine this to move you in any direction really quickly. So if you want to go vertically, it's kind of nice. And then obviously if you want to go horizontally, it's pretty good. Fire Laser. Once again, put your hands close together and start charging a Fire Blast. Only when it is charged can you use the laser. Then from here, put your right arm forward and it'll cast automatically. Use cases for this is it's really good for chip damage as it's long range. And another one is to finish off low HP targets. Fire Dagger. The way you cast this is with Firebolt and then press grip. It'll give you the dagger. If you want to get 2 daggers, you need to do them with a pause. Don't do them at the same time as you'll get flamethrowers. So do 1, then 2. And what these are used for is they do slashing attacks, but they're kind of broken right now as they work when they want to. So I would highly recommend not using them. Fire Orb. The way you cast is to put your hands close together, press the triggers, and then separate your hands. And then there's 2 ways to throw it. You can either just lob it like a pushing motion, or you can make a scissor motion with your hands to send it forward really quickly. Use cases for the orb. It is your highest damaging technique, so if someone's being very predictable, make sure to throw one of these out every once in a while and get some great damage. Fire Whip. The way you cast these is to get flamethrower and then press grip on either one, doesn't matter. And the way you use it is quite simple. You just sling them around. They do pretty decent damage, but they have pretty low range, so I wouldn't really recommend them. Fire Spear. The way you cast this is like the laser, but without the charged Fire Blast. So you can instantly do it. And the use cases for Fire Spear is pretty much mobility, but it does deal a little bit of damage. But since the range is so short, You just have better options. Ultimates. Our first one is Lightning Bolt. It is a single target, short range, high damaging ability. So it is high risk, high reward. And our second one, Fire Pillar. It is a more consistent option as Lightning Bolt can be hard to hit against skilled players. And since this one is cast on the floor, it is much easier to hit people. Now that you know what the techniques do, let me give you some general tips when playing Fire. And the first one is to keep your hands together, charging Fire Blast. I'll explain to you why in a second. Second tip is while you are charging Fire Blast, you need to be using your jetpacks to constantly strafe around and dodge attacks. Do not just walk around. Also, while you're strafing around and holding Fire Blast, you can also dash. All you do is you hold the grip button and then flick in any direction. Now I'm going to explain to you why I told you to charge Fire Blast at all times. It's because it gives you your strongest tools as fire. From here, if you put your right arm back, it'll give you charged bow. If you separate your arms, it'll give you charged orb. If you put your right hand forward, it'll give you laser. And then obviously you have your blast. And then a secret one that most people don't know about is if you separate your hand to get the charged orb, this only works on the charged orb. You can press either grip button and it'll give you 2 charged fire bolts, your basic attacks. And with these, since they give you the explosion, you can do a cool little technique by slightly crouching down, leaning forward a bit, and then I want you to use either hand, only one, to throw it behind your ankles. It will propel you forward, and then use your opposite hand to then attack. It'll look like this. I'll do it one more time once he wakes up. Separate, bolts, you can even dodge attacks with it.
Level complete.
Tip 3, your max punish combo is going to be orb into Fire Blast. The reason you do this is because even if you miss the orb, if you Fire Blast before it goes past the target, it will instantly detonate it. Tip 4, if people like to get really close to you, spam Fire Blast. Fifth tip, if you want to practice your bow aim without the stress of getting killed, you can just stand on this little trapezoid in the hub world and shoot these dummies. Sixth tip, you might find yourself struggling to finish off low HP targets as fire, as you might just be going in spamming fire bolts. Don't do that. You have 2 options. Obviously, the best one is going to be laser, but sometimes you might not be able to do that. So a really good alternative is dash into charged Fire Blast. Recommended passives. Scorched Earth, this is a must-have as the air matchup is incredibly difficult without it, because with Air Blast and Tornado being able to shield all of our attacks, you need the extra range to deal damage with Fire Blast. Never use Burning Embrace. You think the lighting on fire is nice, but since all of our moves have such high damage numbers, 20% nerfs your DPS across the board. I've done the test, it's literally never worth it. Now that you have Scorched Earth, your secondary options are either Fleet for the extra dash, as you know we have no defensive options, so the extra dash is really nice to have. And the second one, which is the one I would recommend because it's the best build, is Double-Edged paired with Scorched Earth. It's self-explanatory. Dealing more damage with Fire Blast, bow, etc. is always really nice, as fire is purely offense. Now that you understand what fire has to offer, let's go over strategies. The most common one, and the one I would recommend, is the mid to long range poke playstyle, because of how attack interactions work currently. It's risky to get up close and generally not worth it at the moment. This playstyle focuses on short exchanges using fire bow and fire laser to chip away at your opponent's health, and if they decide to close the distance, a couple of fire blasts will deter them from trying again. The second playstyle, and the one I personally use, is very rushdown, focusing on charged fire bolts for your primary source of damage and mobility. It's pretty simple. Use the tip I showed earlier to use fire bolts to propel yourself forward, and once they counterattack, dodge, then attack with the other firebolt. Throw in the occasional fire bow and laser to keep them guessing, and make sure to change up your dashes as getting predictable makes this playstyle useless. Now that you know how to play fire, let's give you some tips for fighting each element. And the first one is earth, as it's the one you will come into contact the most. First thing you need to do is learn if the earth user heavily relies on stasis or not. If so, do not bolt in, slowly walk them down, then once they send in their wall, dash around it and get a free hit in. If they start to adapt, wait for them to throw their stasis wall, and then dash towards them, as most players don't expect this. If they don't stasis, you just need to change up how you dash around the wall. Typically you don't want to dash above it as you are easier to hit that way. Now for water. If they heavily rely on water saws and bubbles, you need to be using laser a ton as it instantly destroys their projectiles and also chips away at their health. If their movement is predictable, hit them with the orb blast combo, and make sure to not give them a lot of room as they will resort to dagger sniping, and since you are charging attacks, they will get tons of free damage. And lastly, air. This is by far your hardest matchup as their attacks like Air Blast, Tornado, and Air Shield negate almost your entire move list. The only attacks you need to be using is Fire Blast, Fire Orb, and Fire Bow, as the Orb Blast radius can hit them, and the charged Fire Bow is the only projectile that can go through Air Blast and Shield. If they spam Air Blast, you need to try and match with Fire Blast, as you will win the trade because you deal more damage. If they opt for being more mobile or airborne using lots of drills, going for Charged Firebolt is also not a bad option, as you're able to catch up and then attack with the blast radius of Firebolts. Overall, if your opponent is skilled, you will probably lose as the air versus fire matchup is insanely air focused, so don't beat yourself up. Balance changes are coming soon. Now let's recap. Be sure to use charge moves often, as without them your DPS is pretty bad. Make sure to constantly strafe around with jetpack to dodge projectiles and to keep your opponent nervous. Make sure to be creative, as finding new ways to engage is how you consistently deal damage, as fire is a very simple and becoming predictable is almost certain death. Try to stay at the center of any map, as fire recovery is almost non-existent. And that's pretty much it. I'll post some links in the description for some additional tips, but I'm done yapping. Have a good one.